the politically correct truth is just a part of a bigger style of control that goes back to the trickster alchemy that I've referenced in previous videos. But this trickster alchemy is an actual thing. You have the Jester, you have in like the medieval times, you even had the Jester or the Fool in Egypt, in the Mayan cultures. They still have Hopi ceremonies and Hopi dances where you have, they're called the Heyoka. The Heyoka represents this Jester sort of caricature, and what it is it's a style of learning. It's very extreme. The Jesters, the Heyoka, they can actually do things that people in higher stature in the community, in the culture, they can't really do this stuff. So there's a lot of cursing, there's slapping, it's just a bunch of joking, sloppy, all of the extremes. But what happens is family members can use that expression as a learning tool for their children. So what they do is they represent something that you're not supposed to be. So just as much as you can learn as a person, like as an actual being, you can learn from, just like the song Everybody Plays the Fool. You can learn from that experience, but once it turns into a way of life, once it turns into an alchemy, then that's a different style. You're no longer using it as a teaching tool, but it's now used as a device for control. This device of control, what I'm saying is that tracks all the way through the infrastructure of this entire system, through the soul, the mind, and the body. So when we talk about heliocentrism, we're talking about making a fool out of you. When you're talking about the mainstream media, they're making a fool out of you. Because look at Alex Jones. He's the informed fool. And when you follow an informed fool, you become the fool. So the thing is, he's an entertainer. He entertains in order to distract. And when you're entertaining in order to distract with information that is supposed to be truthful, then that's when you're dealing with an alchemy, because people are going to take that expression, that information, and it's going to become who and what they are. But the thing is, you are watching a Punch and Judy show. You're watching entertainment. So like, let me get into this so you can see where I'm coming from, and kind of like why things are the way they are in reference to the timeline of what's going on today. And another thing is, you see a lot of jesters in black and white. What else do you see in black and white? You see your referees, your umpires, like the people who are in charge of the gladiator arena. They are dressed in the robes of the fool in order to keep the order of the masses, the beastly masses. It's entertainment. You're being entertained by the fool. The end of the Jester tradition didn't end when they're saying this ended. What happened was they took this Punch and Judy show that says right here, a version of this passed into British folk tradition in the form of a puppet show, Punch and Judy show. So who were the puppets back in the day? They had the same effect on you. The puppets back in the day, the Punch and Judy show, was designed to make you feel like you were informed. So usually they make a fool. They use the puppet show to make a fool out of the president. Sound familiar? So the fool out of the king at that time. So like if you've seen the movie Gladiator, then you've seen that show where they have the Caesar who killed his father, the bad guy in Gladiator. They were using him and showing how Maximus, the gladiator, was defeating him and making a fool out of him. So they used that to sell a political agenda. So the fool alchemy is used to sell a political agenda. What happened when the Punch and Judy show went out of style, they just upgraded it to they made the arena the entire world. So once heliocentrism went mainstream, this is why I say trace all this stuff back to the origins. Once heliocentrism went mainstream, The university systems went mainstream because now they had something to build around. They went like a disease, like a parasite. It went all over the place. So the Jester alchemy, the distraction alchemy, everything, the puppet show is the so-called Western civilization today. The Western civilization is the Punch and Judy show, including all of your so-called conspiracies and all this stuff that we see. Like today, Alex Jones is another version of the Punch and Judy. TYT, the mainstream media, the news, the politics. Look at the late night talk shows. That's the obvious one. Look at the relationship between the mainstream media, the late night talk show hosts, these comedians, Saturday Night Live. Look at their relationship with Donald Trump and tell me you're not watching a Punch and Judy show. And now when you go back to the origins of what the Punch and Judy show was supposed to do, it's not there for your entertainment. It's there for the controlling of your mind, to desensitize you and dumb you down. All the people gather around just the same way the gladiator arena is designed to gather your attention, and then all of that pressure that has been building up inside of you that goes against the state, that goes against the power grid, is now relieved once you laugh it away. This is your comedy shows, Saturday Night Live. It's not a big deal anymore once the Jester alchemy allows you to, or gives you the outlet to express yourself. And what happens is that nothing happens. Nothing happens because you don't do anything, because you have the facade of having done something by clearing it. But you're not clearing that energy. You're just relabeling the file folder. That's it. The stuff that is clogging up your systems is still existing in your reality, but you just consistently relabel the new file. This is what presidents are. This is what President Obama was after George Bush. He was a pressure relief valve, just as the Jester alchemy and all this other. When the Western society wanted to go mainstream, they knew that they first and foremost had to have not only the religions out there to give you positive reinforcement, and not only the negative reinforcement, which was the war, like the war on terrorism was designed to make you invest in war and gather, be, oh well, it's so great, we're coming together and stomping out ISIS and Al Qaeda and all these other, there's these prideful, arrogant assholes that are just living in this illusion of something amazing, this whole make America great again stuff. So the Jester alchemy went live. It didn't go away. The tradition never ended. It went live. So that's what I was saying. You had the positive. You had the positive of go to the education system. Here, get this new style of observing your universe. Get this new style of living. Wear this suit. Wear this tie. Have this job. Live this American dream. Do this. Do everything that we say is best for you in your life. Live this way and you will be successful. You'll have the riches that we have. So that's the positive. The negative is what? The negatives are the actions carried out by the same system that make you think that the system is there for your protection, for your safety, for your benefit, when in actual fact, they are the generators of the destruction. The generators of the system itself is the generator of all of these criminals that are out there. The biggest criminals are wearing these suits and ties and working in the banks and pulling the puppet strings behind the bankers. Those are the biggest criminals. But like I said, just as the fool has to make a fool out of you, the criminals have to make criminals out of you. This is why this mind control is out there. You have to give them an excuse for them to take you out. You have to give them an excuse. And what happens is that they give you the excuse to give them the excuse. They give you the excuse that they want you to give them. These are what these orchestrated protests are. This is what Alex Jones represents. He's the informed fool, and he plays that to the T. And they need that because the system needs that, because if you don't pay attention like a bully, if you don't pay attention to the bully, their power is not there anymore. They only exist with people giving them power. So you have this disease. So, okay, let me finish that thought. The positive and the negative. So I give you the positive. You understand what the positive is. All this American dream stuff, everything that this Western civilization celebrates and tries to sell to you as if you should be thanking them for colonialism. You should be thanking them for genocide. You should be thanking them for mind control. You should be thanking them for bombing all of these countries. You should be thankful for this stuff. And there's a lot of people who still think like this. Look at the comment section on a lot of these videos when I talk about how the new age and technology is being used to sell in this new control grid. And you still have simpleton ass people get in the comment sections talking about, well, aren't you using a computer right now? Aren't you doing this such and such and such and such? Like, as if I didn't already think about that. Like, obviously I've already spoken on that. First of all, I've already thought about that. Second of all, it's not as simple as that. But these simple ass people are the outcome of the system that is designed to generate informed fools. So you have these arrogant, prideful, informed fools that are informed in their own bubble, informed to a particular degree. And Alex Jones, he's the new form, he's the new style of Jester. He's the new style of fool. Because what happens is he creates this identity in people, just like Trump creates this identity in people, and Obama creates this identity in people, because since people, there's no culture in Western civilization, like there's no realness to this, to the entire Western civilization. There's nothing real. It's based upon plastic. It's based upon a synthetic reality. And the only way it stays afloat is by generating artificial problems. So this is why they tell you global warming needs to be fought, and we need to poison the oceans instead of, or we need to clean up the poisoned oceans instead of, holding the people accountable for a broken system. Why not face the originations of these problems in the first place? The originations of these mind control programs. Where did this stuff come from? If you are yelling at chemtrails, like you go outside and you're just yelling at the chemtrails, oh, you chemtrails, you such a bad chemtrails, and you got people yelling at chemtrails forever. That is an informed fool. I'm saying this stuff because I played the fool too. I can write a whole book on how the Occupy protest was foolery. Not to say that it had no meaning or purpose or anything like that. Just to say that, like I was giving you examples of Donald Trump and Alex Jones, the informed fool is going to fight a broken system that was designed to be broken, and the fool will ask its own enslaver to be a better slave master. That's the ultimate fool. A fool will do nothing for elevating the consciousness of the origins of these systems. A fool will grab his sword and swing his sword at the chemtrail instead of bringing light to the fact that all these other systems around have added up to these fools gaining the power to create chemtrails, to create a heliocentrism mind control program. A fool will yell forever and never go into understanding and overstanding the origins of the system itself. This is the alchemy of today. This is the full alchemy of today, is to have people yelling. Alex Jones is out there to have an effect on people. What is that effect? I've gone over it a number of times. It creates a level of consciousness to where you shut down. You're desensitized. You do nothing for thinking for yourself because you have waves, teams of people, networks of individuals and networks of systems that think for you. In time, it becomes overwhelming to even entertain the information, which is what the system banks on at the same time, and people will shut down. So this full alchemy is the grease. It's like the lubrication between the positive and the negative reinforcement. The politically correct truth is the fuel within that in-between space. It's what empowers people to think, act, and feel a certain way. So you have the full, which lubricates the relationship between positive and negative reinforcement and distracts everybody at the same time, desensitizes everybody, and the fuel is the information that people think they're gathering for themselves to fight the system, but you're still in a Punch and Judy show. You're still playing the fool. You're not even in the arena because they've created a holographic arena for you to fight in, for you to think in, for you to feel in, for you to have relationships in, for you to work within. This is a holographic arena for you to exist within. Once you have generations upon generations who are living within that hologram, the hologram becomes your reality. A perfect example of that is the reality, the truth that people are more enveloped in the materialistic physical reality than they are with their own mind, with their higher mind, with their soul. That stuff is secondary. The fool created an education system for you. This Jester alchemy. You can go further into the biblical terminologies and all that other stuff and tracing it back to Nephilim and all that if you like. What I'm talking about is how it's existing today and how this alchemy is existing inside of people, and people are following people. Fools are following fools and laughing at other foolish fools, fools priding themselves because they're not as extreme as the other fools. This is what Alex Jones represents. This is what a lot of these truther communities who vest all their energy in one particular thing. There's nothing to wait for. You have every single day to do the most heavy duty shit you could ever do, to think the most heavy duty shit you could ever think. You have an entire day every time you wake up in the morning. But just as you wake up in the morning and you put your physical suit on, you forget all of your dreams in your subconscious reality. The same thing happens when you jump into a particular community, like the New Age community or a Flat Earth community. You jump into that community and you put on your Flat Earth suit. You put on your New Age suit. Well, the thing is, you might look cool and feel hip and, be fly and all this other stuff, but that suit will eventually weigh you down because the suits don't grow. You are forever growing. So this system creates suits for people to wear. And once you have generations upon generations wearing those suits, they now become your body. They become your reality. And it stunts your growth. This is what heliocentrism is. This is what you see those watermelons that they grow in boxes, or those watermelons that they grow in hearts. It shapes you, and you're no longer you anymore. You're the shape that you've been shaped into. You have generations upon generations who have been shaped by this foolery. And now you have prideful, arrogant, misinformed, and disinformed fools who don't want to make a fool out of themselves by changing what they speak about. They can't stop yelling. They can't stop talking about what they've been talking about forever, because it's extremely humbling. Once you step into that humble world, you are vulnerable. And you have a lot of these people who are just yelling the same shit over and over and over again. And what they're doing is they've created a world that ultimately stunts your growth. Because this is what the word conscious and woke and all that stuff is. That's what that word is designed to do. It's like those heart-shaped, you're suffocating yourself wearing that suit because you're not growing anymore. And you got people walking around, they're bigger than these suits. Like, imagine a grown-ass man walking around in a onesie, got their feet, growing out, toes sticking out of little slippers at the bottom, and their arms are already, the sleeves all the way up the damn arm. You got people walking around in these tiny ass little onesies thinking that they're like woke and conscious and shit. Take that fucking onesie off. Oh, we're this and we're that. No, the fuck you're not. You're wearing a suit, yelling at everybody else because they're not wearing a suit like you. You don't even fit in that. You weren't designed to fit in that suit. You weren't born to wear the Alex Jones suit. You weren't born to call yourself woke. Based upon what? You're forever growing. But once you start wearing a cape of woke, then shit, it's gonna weigh you down. So what happens is, or what's happening is, like I said, this Jester alchemy, it creates informed fools. Like I said, the Punch and Judy show was designed to inform you and make you feel empowered, prideful, that you are aware of what's going on. You're not aware of what's going on. You don't know what's going on. But you have millions of people who think they know what's going on. And the thing is, you don't have to know exactly what's going on, because to know what's going on is to know yourself. To know what's going on is to know yourself. Once you know yourself, that is you taking off whatever suit that they tried to fit you in. And once you stop wearing the suits that stunt your growth, then you're setting yourself up to be able to see further. You can grow taller and see a further horizon. What kind of horizon does Alex Jones see? He sees 1776. He sees making America great again. He can't even see, at least out there in the open. He puts on a suit so other people can put on that suit that doesn't even look at the crimes of Western civilization. So other people don't look at that. They actually think that it's not even worth it. Like, you're crazy. He's a conspiracy theorist, and he's calling other people conspiracy theorists. So you have these layers upon layers of people calling themselves conspiracy theorists. Ain't no different than calling yourself woke. Conspiracy theorist is just another form of, another style. It's another onesie of woke. Once you become aware of the cancer, you're not concerned with the side effects anymore. I mean, they're still there. You're going to have to deal with them. But in the long run, somebody has to do something about this cancer. Somebody has to say something about the origins of these systems. Otherwise, history is just going to continue to repeat itself. So you have people priding themselves one by one. I'm speaking from experience. Like, I went through the military, and they pump your head up that whole time. It's just like, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing that. You're an amazing American. You're fighting for freedom. And you get in there, they just treat you like shit. You're just a robot. You're a machine. They don't care. Look at how they treat the veterans. They don't care about any of us out here. Like, it's all like a design, and whatever little things like the GI Bill and stuff they give you, that they use that as a weapon against you. Within this Jester alchemy, disease, cancer is a business. Foolery is a business. Like, when you look at all of these programs that are designed to slowly but surely tear you down under the guise of evolving you or bringing you up, and the system profits off of the death and destruction of people, that alone, just that one little thing, should be enough to address the infrastructure itself. But you have hundreds and even thousands of other forms of for-profit disease. You have disease as a business. Everything that I am going to list off in here is another form of reasoning to address the infrastructure itself, and don't even waste your time or energy talking about the other little things. Like, it might not seem like chemtrails are a little thing right now, but think about how you're gonna feel think about it from after I go through this list. Really think about, what we're really talking about when you're talking about chemtrails. What's more powerful? The intelligence and the system behind chemtrails or the chemtrails themselves? That's my whole point with all of this shit. What's more of your focus in the art of war, in just analyzing a situation and trying to help somebody out? You have chemtrails. What's more important to focus on? The chemtrails themselves or the infrastructure, the power grid that created a world where not only that chemtrails exist, but you have people who don't give a shit. They don't care. They're so enveloped in the world of the fool, they don't care about what's happening. You have complete injustices like this image that you're looking at right now. There's no morality in this system. There's no ethics at all. They don't care. Like I was talking about in reference to the importance of going into colonialism and really breaking that down. Coming from that perspective is very powerful because you're talking about the infrastructure itself. You're putting them on blast. The IT program. You're putting the system on blast because you're making it vulnerable by bringing an awareness to it. And that's why I said, like, anytime I'm talking about individuals who have particular perspectives, even though they may be linear, even though they may be stuck on a stepping stone or wearing a onesie. Well, I had to wear a onesie once because at one time that onesie was bigger than you. But eventually, if you keep growing, you're going to grow into it. And you have to make the choice. Am I going to continue to wear this onesie for the rest of my life, which you will break through and grow out of and just continue to force yourself to wear? Or are you going to become vulnerable and switch into whatever uniform, the uniform that you wake up in the morning at? You don't need anything else to grow out of once you've consistently grown out, once you understand the function of going through and learning. This is like bumping your head. This is understanding, and overstanding the alchemy of the fool. Learning from this foolery. Stop putting on these outfits. Once you realize that you will eventually outgrow these outfits, then you will actually be able to pull the gems out of whatever that experience represents without having to envelop your entire world in there. So like now I can talk to people from having experienced the foolery of the military, the foolery of protesting in the banks, the foolery of the new age community, the foolery of all of these things that I've been listing off, the foolery of never going into the infrastructure of the system and constantly locking yourself into a linear interpretation of this reality. It's a stepping stone to go where? To do what? Well, you do it every single day. You wake up every single day. That's where you're going until you need to go somewhere else. So that's why this whole savior shit is this. It's a foolery. You've been tricked. You've been duped by the system of dupers who just duping. They're duping you. Duplication. If you get that reference, leave it in the comment section because some people know it, some people don't. This is why everything is backwards and upside down and reverse, because that's how the gestures are. That's how the alchemy is. It's designed that way. And once you live in an upside down, backwards, reverse world for so long, you become climatized to it and you actually start to defend it. This is where we're at right now. This is why people can't stop watching TV. People can't stop listening to politics, can't stop following all of these empty, shallow ass people on social media, YouTube, so on and so forth. Can't do it. Some people are gonna live and die in that world. Oh well, that's the way it's supposed to be for them. I mean, like somebody who's gonna die today, who lived an entire life inside of a microwave. I mean, that's not. I'm not trying to say that to be callous. I'm just saying like these are the things that happen, and you are in charge of your ways that things happen within this experience. But if you give everything away to an illusion, then you're going to get what you ask for. So we have this system that prides itself in being a fool. And when it prides itself in being a fool, you create a nation and eventually an entire world of fools. And once you create an entire world of fools, Then you just have to polish that foolery. So this is what Hollywood is. And look at the relationship between Hollywood and Bollywood. Look at the relationship between so-called black people and so-called white people. You can have the so-called black person, do everything by the numbers. Be Alex Jones, be Donald Trump, be Barack Obama. You still just gonna be a dirty ass little nigga. That's it. Dirty ass, you ain't shit. There's nothing that you can do that can put you on the same status. Why? Because the system has generated. They created the rules. They have complete and utter control over your simple fool ass because you are trying to pride yourself in a fool ass world that they made for you. This is this informed slavery that's going on right now. So you have this fool program that's priding itself, creating distractions to distract the fools and creating systems that create fools. So the entire system creates fools inherently. The entire system, the infrastructure of this world creates, for a good example, it creates a subconscious fool. So if your subconscious reality is 30 times more powerful than your conscious reality, like your dream self, this is why you dream. This is why it's so jacked up that you have dreams that you're at work. That's how jacked up that is. But anyway, the system is designed to lock down your subconscious and create a full environment for your entire unconscious and subconscious reality. Once that's set, then it's up to you. You're going to subconsciously create a full mechanism in your conscious reality by following the subconscious mind control triggers and implants. That's a better word. Implants in your world. You manifest the subconscious implants into your conscious reality. The mechanism in between that transition between subconscious and the conscious foolery is the system itself in your conscious reality. The entire Western civilization, not just chemtrails, not just 9/11, not just reptilians, not just this, not just that, the entire fucking thing. They have so many different ways to fool your ass. According to the quilted multiverse theory, about 10 to the 10 to the 120th light years from Earth, there exists another Earth identical to our Earth where your multiverse twin lives. When you break those codes, when you break that alchemy, you're doing something to your soul that in many ways and quite possibly has never been done before. This Western civilization's been outgrown from the get-go. But people can't take it off. They're scared. It's too vulnerable to take that off. But they want to have the appearance of not wearing a onesie. So you yell at the chemtrails. You yell at the globe earth. You yell at the globalists. You yell at whatever, Trump. You yell at all of this and don't really acknowledge what's going on in your own little onesie suit. Foolery. And in this foolery, like I said, the positive reinforcement is to make you think that you're making some real change. This is what Obama was. This is what all these other systems are. To make you think that something amazing is happening. But it's not. You're missing the whole point. Is it like your fault in that one little car that's designed to put these emissions in the sky? Like, what's more important to focus on in reference to pollution? The system that creates the mechanisms that create this pollution, or like a fucking smog check on your vehicle. People in California know what I'm talking about, this emissions check. You got to pay every year like $35 to get a check, inspection. Like your house is not designed to take care of you. Your home is designed for profit. Your apartment, your house is designed not structurally to fit the human being. It's designed to fit the Western modern society. It's designed to fit the pocketbooks of the higher ups. It's designed to make you pay for energy. It's designed to make you pay for heat and air conditioning. That's in the infrastructure of it. This cultural virus that is this Western society prides itself in being a fool. And in order to protect itself, it has to victimize itself. This is why you see the happy and sad face of entertainment. The fool, the jester does the same thing. It's like, oh, it plays the victim. It plays the aggressor a lot of the times. And ultimately, you can't do anything about it because it's all in fun, right? It's all in fun. You have free will. And if you allow your free will to follow the alchemy of a fool, then that's on you. So you got a bunch of fool-ass crackheads running around talking about you're woke. Energetically, you're a fucking crackhead. Literally, you got your head cracked. Thinking you're thinking for yourself, but still diseased. So anyway, this pride, it gets more important in your reality once it has somebody or something else to demonize. This is the relationship between the positive and the negative reinforcement. So not only demonize, but to be better than. So, because those are two different things, but they both have the same effect. Not only demonize, to bring down, so to bring yourself up, but also to be better than. So this is what the system does. This is why I said any black person in there, you just gonna be a simple ass mother. You're nothing. But you'll never be. Like the lowest grade so-called white person is going to forever in this system underneath the world that invented racism. That's the output. That's the outcome. And you got these truthers. They won't even talk about that. They won't talk about the psychology of this mind control program because they're still wearing that little funky ass, old ass onesie that they outgrew, calling themselves woke and conscious. Some bullshit. So a good example of being better than and having people generate this pride to be better than is like the relationship between Bollywood and Hollywood. Everybody knows that once you make it to Hollywood in that whole world, you made it. Like that's it. Like that's the peak. That's the pinnacle in their whole world. But that's a mind control program. But you have people trying to be like that full mind control program. And then you have people in the new age community. They have people trying to be like they think they should be based upon not being something else. That's another thing. Everybody's trying to be who they think they are. But there's a difference from trying to be something in comparison to something else. That's not truly who you are. This is what a lot of the new age programs and mechanisms are based upon. It's like, oh, you're not a part of that low energy, low vibration world. You're new age. That's just the alchemy of the relationship between calling something old and calling something new. The new age, the new world order, the new testament, like smart water, like I said in the last video, all of that. It creates this second class Western society. But you think you're the same. But you'll forever be a second class soul if you give your soul away to a system of jester, trickster, alchemy, foolery by paying into their distractions. So you have this system that makes its money off fear. It creates fear in order to control you. This is why you can break this down so much. Like, this is why kids are scared of clowns and this whole thing. Like, it really is real. This is some real shit that's existing out there. Fear is a part of this. Horror movies bring you so far down. Like war itself, it sets the bar so low that they don't have to do much to be better than or great. Like Donald Trump and how they were selling Hillary Clinton. It's like, vote for Clinton. At least she's not Donald Trump. What the fuck are you talking about? You're supposed to be a leader. Like, if that were to happen in like a platoon or a company, it's like, let's pick this first sergeant, or let's pick this sergeant major, or let's pick whoever. Why? Well, because they're at least not this person. Mind you, that shit does happen a lot, all the time. But that's not the point. The point is, what are you really doing? Like, why? Like, are we not thinking about this stuff? You don't, because you're just desensitized, hopeless, helpless, and that's the only thing you can do. You just get what you get. Fool ass motherfucker, that's all you gonna get. Watch your TV, go to work, shut your damn mouth. That's it. Fear. So this fear is what sets the subconscious and the conscious bar so low in your reality that you are afraid of yourself. You're afraid of growing. You're afraid of being vulnerable. You're afraid of challenging the system because you're afraid of letting go of that part of you. People cannot challenge the system, the infrastructure of the system itself, because they are afraid of losing that part of themselves. Your entire human resources are on lockdown. You got horror movies affecting people's dreams. You have fear inside of every single mechanism within this society. You have cloning, animal cloning, human cloning. 9/11 in itself, however perspective you want to come from it, it's just bullshit. That alone is enough to challenge the system. 9/11, chemtrails, fluoride, genocide, the fiat currency system, the prison industrial complex, the military industrial complex, the pedophilia within the church, the pedophilia within Hollywood, the pedophilia within politics, the pedophilia that leads all the way back to this Greco-Roman relationship that they have with these young boys. There's nothing civil about this. Nothing civil about this world at all. It's designed to lock you down from your soul, your mind, and your body. And all of these things that I'm listing off right now are mechanisms used by Western civilization to maintain that hopelessness, desensitization, and control over your soul, your mind, and your body. If you believe in the heliocentric model, you believe in nothing. You believe that it's not that far of a stretch. Like atheism is not that far away. There's not that many degrees of separation between atheism and what people call Satanism. Like an atheist is already dead believing in that system, like subconsciously dead. You have no meaning, no purpose, no relationship with even your own soul, largely a lot of the times, because you're totally based upon what the system tells you to be, how it tells you to be. So you have Satanism, atheism, all this shit was invented. Like, you had the indigenous people, like I said, they're not perfect and all that stuff, the ancestors, all that, obviously. But there is one reoccurring theme across the earth of the indigenous people, and that is a relationship not only with nature, but a relationship with the Most High. And that shit needed to be squashed out in order for this atheistic, satanic, mind control program that includes heliocentrism to take effect and control of people. It needed to die. This is why the indigenous people were killed and genocided and massacred, and constantly and still today, and told that you're not even indigenous anymore. You're a fucking minority in your own land. Who the fuck are you to tell me what I am on my own land? That's the most heinous shit that could be going on. Yet, it's accepted in society. Organ harvesting, the UFO agenda, the New World Order, poisoning the ocean, cutting down the forests, overfishing, sucking the oil out of the earth, NASA, heliocentrism, the theory of relativity, the theory of gravity, the Big Bang theory, the evolution theory, all of these theories. This is the trickster magic, this Western alchemy magic designed to have an effect on you. The war on terrorism, the mainstream media, mind control, MK Ultra, the profiting from the death and the disease of the masses. They trap you, make you love it. Subliminal coding in your music, in your television, in your cartoons, in your news, in your education. Subliminally coding you, coding your subconscious. These are the mechanisms that hold this stuff afloat. This is the web, the matrix, the infrastructure of information that brings all of this stuff together and makes you realize that, oh shit, yes, it is the system itself. It's not any one thing. The invention of racism, the invention of eugenics, the invention of white supremacy. These are all inventions. There's a highly intelligent design within the invention of white supremacy, white privilege, racism overall. It's very, there's been many books written about this. Profiting from that racism that was invented, profiting from the death, the lynching of people, the burning of houses, the bombing of an entire city. Look up Black Wall Street. The taking out of people for profit, for control, genocide through colonialism, religions designed to not bring you closer to your soul, designed to take that energy of that relationship that you have to the experience as your soul and channel that into a profitable venture. Religion. These are heartless. This is a heartless entity profiting from religion, profiting from genocide, destroying the family, destroying the culture, single mother programs, deadbeat dad programs, sibling fighting programs. This is what all these movies are for, to destroy your family under the guise of bringing it together. No. It's designed to make you hate yourself. And in hating yourself, you're hating everybody else too. It's another form of fear, living in that hate. Another form of chaos. Jesters, the jokers, the fools, they live off of chaos. That chaos, that's why I say that chaos alchemy is another proof of this trickster alchemy. You're living in a chaotic universe that is chaotic on purpose. Because in order for the fool to become the king, the fool has to convince you into their world of foolery and chaos. It's exactly what you're living in right now. Destroying the family, destroying the culture, destroying society, effeminizing the men, making women more like men, men more like women, internally and externally, destroying the relationship between the divine feminine and the divine masculine, confusing children with the education system, with all of these other mixed things and theories like there's no gender and all this other shit. They're destroying you. It's creating chaos within you because the system that gives you your answers is now telling you everything is the answer. Like, no, that's not. Everything is not the answer. It's there's some real things that exist that like in a drum circle. There's a harmonic. Everybody can be playing their own drum, their own style, their own way. But there's an easy way to fuck up a drum circle by you just being an egotistical asshole who's just only interested in, being the loudest or being whatever, showing off your new drum. See, what happens is that you're not only distracting other people, other individuals, but you're throwing off the infrastructure or the harmonics of the entire song, the entire orchestra. So individually and collectively, that's how this full alchemy has and is destroying people. Weather manipulation, Katrina, the reaction to Katrina, the floods from this weather manipulation. Consciously, people are aware of this. The intelligence behind these systems is the infrastructure. It's the focus. What I'm saying is the most important focus. The assassinating of your leaders, your peaceful leaders, the assassinating of people who are challenging the system, economic hitmen, these implosive devices that these economic hitmen generate when they go down to these countries and assassinate leaders of countries who threaten leaders of other countries just from being cool, just from being who they are. This is why Gaddafi was taken out. He was getting ready to unify Africa outside of the U.S. currency. He was going to change the whole game, destabilizing entire nations, stealing artifacts from grave sites. It takes a different kind of person When people talk about this, we're all one, we're all the same, we're all human. To this day, I'm still going to say, fuck you. Because that's not true. That's a cop-out. It's a prescription drug. It's a distraction from everything that's going on here. It takes a different kind of person to not only tread on the grave sites of hundreds of thousands of people, but it takes a different kind of person to go into those grave sites and take all of the things that were buried with those people. It takes a special kind of person, a different kind of person, you can call it special, a different kind of person to build a dance pavilion on top of an ancient burial ground. You want to know more about that? Look into the shell mound in Emeryville, California. Look into the shell mounds all over the barrier, all over the Americas. But literally, a shell mound, which was a burial ground, 2 stories tall, an entire city block long, was cut down and not even properly excavated. And they first built a dance pavilion, literally dancing on the graves of the people that they've just slaughtered and massacred. It takes a different kind of soul to be doing some shit like that. So when somebody comes to me talking about we're all human, fuck you. Because you are not acknowledging the inhumane actions of this system. And in fact, you're not only not acknowledging it, but you're keeping people from acknowledging that. Keeping people from going into what that really means. This is another part of this trickster alchemy. It makes you think you got a grasp on things. That's what the New Age is. The New Age agenda. To pride yourself in thinking you know what's going on in comparison to. Why do people pride themselves in the New Age? Because they're not a part of the old age. And that's all they need in their world. Stealing artifacts, dancing on graves, stealing an entire nation's riches and jewels, and then today not even giving it back. And not even acknowledging like how fucked up it was to do something like that. It does play the aggressor. It plays the victim at the same time. It plays the fool. It plays positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, all to distract you with magic, tricks, and illusion. This is what politics is. This is what Hollywood is, heliocentrism, the education system. All of this is trickster magic. And until you address the alchemy itself, until you address the consciousness of this alchemy itself, you're going to be spinning wheels. And if you're spinning wheels, you're not spinning nothing. You're like in a hamster wheel. You're generating the energy for the system. You're generating the energy for the system. If you do not focus on, or at least anchor yourself in the consciousness of how this system has affected us in the past, in the present, and the future, to the soul, the mind, and the body. This is the 3-tiered chess game that I was talking about in comparison to the linear chess game, which is just one step up. That's like the conspiracy theorists. People think they know what's going on. That's linear chess, because you might be able to see a few moves out ahead. You might be able to make a few moves here and there, but you're still playing on a one-dimensional chess game.